This episode is brought to you by One World Empowered. Hey there, tired mama. Do you wish you could push a reset button on your energy? Like, do you want to keep up with those Energizer bunnies that are running around you all day? I know. I feel ya. Coffee can only do so much. Well, don't you worry. I've got you covered. Now, just imagine a community of mamas who know the struggle and are working together to harness and reclaim their energy. We're talking about a true community of mamas who get it. Daily practices to jumpstart your days, accountability partners, group coaching calls to ground and recenter you throughout the 28 days. Does this sound like the exact dose of medicine you need in order to feel 100% again? If so, this program is exactly what you need if you want to be more present with your kiddos, if you think a new routine will help you maximize your time and you enjoy having an accountability partner to help you with developing that new routine and those new habits, if you'd like to increase your patience and energy all while reducing your stress and anxiety, and if you think it would be amazing to have an understanding community of mamas who get it and are on the same path towards healing. Mama, today is the day you choose you and level up. Come join our 28-day energetic reset for moms by visiting www.oneworldempowered.com/workwithme and click the Learn More option next to the Energetic Reset program, or just scroll down and click the link in my show notes below. I can't wait to meet you and witness you step into your full potential. See you there, Mama. You're listening to the Empowered to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Dina T, and I'm so excited to take you on a journey through stories of everyday experts as we share the ways we've harnessed the power inside us to improve the quality of our lives and the health of our minds. We're so excited to have you here with us and hope you feel inspired and empowered to heal. Hello, you beautiful souls. Do you ever have those moments where you feel like you're experiencing the same conversations or thought processes over and over again, but with different people? Like you've got something in your mind that you've been focusing on and it just seems to keep coming up over and over again. Well, today has been one of those days. Throughout the conversations I've had with 3 different people, a common theme kept popping up. And I thought, wow, okay, this is pretty prevalent. Why don't we talk about this for a minute here? So the thing I'm talking about is readiness for change, or how to motivate yourself outside of your cognitions. Some people say that motivation is something that you have to have inherently within you. Others say that it's like a muscle that you work inside your brain in order to get better and better at it, right? You have to keep yourself motivated and keep going. And other times, inspiration can seem to motivate us. But we all have these moments where motivation doesn't necessarily seem like enough. And when the motivation fails or doesn't work, we end up internalizing that and feeling like we're failing or we don't work. And that's just not true. So our brains are not black and white and linear. We don't just work in this realm of, if I try hard, I'll figure it out. Sometimes our brains are hardwired or chemically, electrically, however you want to say it, communicating to each other. The neurons and dendrites are talking to each other and we don't have control over what's going on. This can be the case when we're experiencing extreme stress. Another type of word for stress might be overwhelm. It might be exhaustion. It might be trauma. It might be that our brain is just hardwired differently from others. And sometimes motivation just doesn't seem like it's enough. And to put all of our eggs in the basket of motivation just seems kind of silly sometimes. So I wanted to hop on here and talk through the connection that we have between our mind and our body. And I'm going to just really gloss over this as best I can in a general way so that everybody can kind of take something from this. Our mind does not work in a vacuum, and we could put a lot of focus and energy on our thought processes and our intentions and still never create an outcome. And a lot of times in society, that's what we do. Myself included, right? I do this all of the time, and sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't, but I'll put a lot of energy on, I need to change my thoughts in order to change my behaviors, my actions, and how I do things throughout my day. So for instance, if I have a lot of things I need to get accomplished, or I want to change a pattern or behavior or habit of mine, if I put a lot of intention on that thing that I want to change or get better at or accomplish, then it should happen. And then there's other times where I'm like, okay, you know what? I had every intention in the world to do this and I didn't get it done. And that's the typical moments when you might start experiencing these thoughts in your mind that are like, you're no good, you're lazy, I can't ever finish something I put my mind to. Wow, I always get sideswiped into something else. I wish I could just focus and have more time to crank one thing out before something else pulls me to the side. And those types of thoughts are pretty defeating. And I am guilty for having those types of thoughts, right? I think all of us can go through life experiencing moments where we do that to ourselves. And it's not a very kind way to talk to ourselves. And it also doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes our brain needs a little bit of a boost to get going. And I think we oftentimes misinterpret that signal in our brain. We can beat ourselves up over it, like I just described with our internal dialogue. Other things that we might do is we might eat food or drink an energy drink or go take a walk or have a cigarette break, whatever it is that people do to try and organize themselves or release stress in a moment and refocus. I shared my hacks on this podcast that I like to do to refocus myself and get my brain kind of programmed. And sometimes, despite all odds, it just doesn't work. And there's a reason for this. Our bodies are hardwired to communicate from our brain down through our gut and our body, up back through our brain, how we're feeling, what we're doing, what we need, and how we should respond to the world around us. And we take stimuli in through our eyes and our ears and all of our senses, and our body determines what to do. And when we're under stress, it can be very confusing for our brain to figure out and prioritize, what do I do? And what brain space do I need to do things? And our body has this nerve called the vagus nerve. Vagus means wandering. And this vagus nerve, wandering nerve, goes all the way from our brain and our amygdala, our fight or flight response, our stress response system, all the way down our brainstem into our body. It goes through our large organs, goes through our back and our chest and our stomach, our gut, right? And it travels back up. And the majority of the information that is delivered through this information highway, this nerve, the vagus nerve, is going from our body up into our brain, not from our brain down into our body. So no matter how many times we tell ourselves, you're fine, you can get through it, it's going to be okay, just focus, no matter how many times we do that, sometimes it just doesn't work because the body, something else inside us, is receiving information that's telling us that we have to prioritize something else. And that might not be something we're conscious of, right? When we're under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, it can be really difficult for our bodies to organize. And now, I'm not just talking about like stress of it doesn't have to be something huge like a traumatic event for your body to respond this way. It can be you moms out there who have kids saying, "Mom, mom, mom," crying and whining all around you while you're just trying to focus. Or it could be you had a really rough day and start to your day, and now you're trying to organize yourself and be grounded again and focus on the here and now. It can also be something extreme like, something traumatic did happen, right? And maybe you're having flashbacks to that experience. Maybe your body's never been able to feel safe, and so it's really hard to get yourself organized and focused and pull your brain together, feel in control of your mind and your thoughts and your actions. Either way, to treat this, you do the same thing. if we want to treat the vagus nerve, that vagus nerve is responsible for telling our brain we're in danger and you need to act, right? It triggers our amygdala, our fight-flight responses to react. And if our brain is doing that, then the information is not getting to the part of the brain that is able to do critical thinking, right? Is able to make a plan and execute it outside of survival. We're just surviving and getting through our day. A lot of times when we're under stress, that's what it feels like we're doing, right? We may our brains might pop into this complete auto drive, right? Like cruise control where we're not consciously making any decisions and our subconscious is guiding our day, which happens to a lot of us. We might disassociate for moments, which is a healthy way for our brain to try and get reprieve and a break from big things going on. Or we might just be so scatterbrained that we cannot organize what's happening and what we're going to do next, and we can't focus our mind, or we're exhausted and we're falling asleep. Either way, the vagus nerve is responsible for calming our stress response system, treating that stress response system to regulate and slow ourselves down. So I have a story for you guys. I have worked in the public behavioral health system for a very long time, 10 years. And throughout my journey, I did a lot of work with kids and families to support them in navigating big moments. And the programs that I worked in were organized and created for children and their families who have some pretty complex diagnoses and struggles. And maybe typical counseling wasn't effective or wasn't enough for them, and they needed something more tailored and individualized to meet their unique needs. And so the programs that I was connected to and I was a clinician in and a leader in and helped develop were programs that were designed to individually tailor what each child and family needed based off of their culture, their stress, their response systems, how they navigated and interacted with their world. And in doing that for so many years, it's really easy to get caught up in trying to treat cognitions or choices and believe that we all have a choice and that we're making to behave the way we're behaving. And the reality is we don't always have that choice, right? Sometimes our bodies make that choice for us, or our brains make that choice for us. And we're on the other end of the decision dang it, I didn't want to do that, but I did. So to take it really far away from that example to something that anybody may experience is you're having a stressful moment and all of a sudden you find yourself with your head in the fridge and a piece of chocolate in your mouth, right? Or a drink in your hand. And you're like, wait a second, how did I get here? I didn't mean to do this. Why am I doing this? And those moments where we just kind of take over and our bodies do something or react, right? And get us something that might be out of habit or might be out of response to an emotion. Those moments happen for the majority of us. And this behavioral health program was designed for moments where these things were very difficult to treat and typical interventions were not successful and behaviors were really big and often unsafe to yourself or unsafe to other people. And in this work, we would have very little success if we focused on cognitions, if we focused on believing that it's people's behaviors are choices, and lecturing and teaching and drilling things into people didn't work. Even trying to create habits with people didn't work. The things that ended up making the largest impact in these moments were interventions that were designed to treat the body, which in turn treated the stress of the brain. So, for example, Dr. James Gordon wrote in the book, The Transformation, and teaches through the Center for Mind-Body Medicine a technique that treats our body's vagus nerve in order to regulate our body. And this technique is called soft belly breathing. Now, soft belly breathing is a way to say diaphragmatic breathing, or breathing deep down in our diaphragm with our belly soft and relaxed, and letting that breath come in and flow out, and doing that in a really rhythmic manner. And so you can breathe in with your belly soft and relaxed, and breathe out with your belly soft and relaxed. And as you do this, when you breathe in, you think the word soft. And when you breathe out, you think the word belly. And you do this talking yourself through a progressive muscle relaxation technique. And so noticing how the muscles in your toes and your feet feel, and breathing in and releasing and relaxing them, and doing that all the way up through your entire body. And then continuing to say to yourself as you breathe, soft as you inhale, belly as you exhale, kind of like a chant to yourself, focusing your brain. And anytime your brain wanders, you acknowledge it and redirect it back to soft belly, connecting that with your inhale and your exhale. And this technique is actually stimulating the vagus nerve in your body. And doing this about 10 to 12 minutes a day can regulate and rewire your body's stress response system. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I know that it works because A, I've done it myself and seen great outcomes. And B, a family I'd worked with for like 7 years through the different programs at our agency had very little progress in all of the interventions tried, whether that was psychiatric interventions to counseling interventions to in-home behavioral response teams, wraparound services, hospitalizations, equine therapy, art therapy, all of these things. And little progress made during all of those interventions. And we decided to say, that's enough. That's enough. We are going to redirect all of our interventions to be about soft belly breathing. And it was something that was phenomenal to see in action. After just a few weeks, compared to all these years, just a few weeks of our practice, we were able to slow down the reactive responses that people didn't want to have. They didn't feel good about. They didn't enjoy having outbursts. They wanted to change them. The motivation was there to change them, but there was no ability to execute that despite every desire and effort implemented. And so this technique we implemented with the entire family as a whole to help shift the stress response system of the entire family. And lo and behold, a huge change occurred. There were no more hospitalizations. There were no more police calls and firefighters and ambulances and all of the first responders, crisis teams coming out to the house anymore. And the family was navigating big moments. They'd still have big moments, but they were able to navigate and get through them without it escalating to a place of extreme danger all the time. And this is a technique that can be used in that extreme manner, as well as in the manner of any everyday experience that you have where you're feeling overwhelmed or you're stressed and you're trying to accomplish things. And there's a lot of science and connection between the mind and the body. And for some reason, we isolate the mind. We put it in a box and we say, okay, mind, like, you're not strong enough. I want you to get better. And everything that I'm going to do is going to be focused on my cognitions and my thoughts and telling you to get better and reading about getting better and talking about getting better and practicing techniques to get better, retraining my thoughts, right? But without physical action, that will only take us so far. And the soft belly breathing technique is just one of many, many, many techniques that you can utilize to stimulate your vagus nerve. But it is probably the most profound technique that I have seen in action. And it's something that takes little time in your day. You can do it anywhere that you are. You can do it as you're falling asleep at night and send yourself off to sweet dreams quicker. You can also do it in a stressful moment. Nobody has to see or know that you're doing it because we all breathe anyways. You're just going to shift your breath out of your chest, down into your belly. And then you're going to train your brain to start taking breaths deeper down in your diaphragm in a relaxed and controlled manner. I hope that you guys found this tip helpful. I know myself personally in my life and in my clinical practices, this tip has been nothing short of amazing. And I owe it all to Dr. James Gordon and his research in the Center for Mind-Body Medicine. I hope to be connecting with you guys soon about more techniques that we can utilize to regulate our bodies and regulate our stress that are simple, everyday things that we can do to stimulate that vagus nerve, and we can do them proactively or reactively. And I gotta tell you guys, practice, practice, practice. the more we can do something in a proactive manner through practicing, the more our body is going to strengthen that memory and that muscle and pull and come back to using that in hard times. There's nothing more difficult than being under stress and having to try and practice a new skill, right? Our brain doesn't want to access that. And so doing it ahead of time, practicing it every day, making it a part of your routine, and then one day it might be more effective in a reactive manner too. But ultimately, the hope is that it'll reduce your reactions and your need to even use it reactively. I hope you have found this tidbit of information powerful and something that can empower yourself on your own healing journey. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you are feeling inspired and empowered in your own healing journey. I know that many of you listening might be reflecting on your own stories that you may feel called to share. If so, please reach out to me at denat@empowertoheal.com. That's DENAT@empower2heal.com. Or drop me a message through my Instagram handle at empower2heal. I would love to connect with you and learn about your journeys so that we can hopefully continue to spread these powerful life lessons on empowering ourselves to heal. My contacts will also be linked in the show notes below so that you can easily find me. We are so eager to start a movement in showcasing the many ways we can heal. And you can be part of this movement too by capturing images and tagging them #empower2heal on Instagram. We look forward to seeing all the ways that you are empowered to heal. I love you, beautiful souls, and thank you so much. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and review.